Welcome to Annamalai University. Professor Selvarasu, Professor of Business Administration, on case companion teaching. Before we get into case study analysis, case companion would give us guidelines as to how different stages with which we can proceed to studying a case. Case companion teaching is drawn from Harvard Business School publishing resource on loving spoon, a case on loving spoon prepared by Michael. The Telegram channel is made available to access PowerPoint slides and hyperlink of the case course pack. The access to the course pack can be done in two ways. One is by becoming a co-teach. One can become a free trial tutorial user, or you can access it by subscribing to the course pack. Welcome to case companion teaching. There are 5 principles with which a case has to be approached. Normally, it is all about the case situation where the different actors or players are included, various issues are imbibed in the case, and views of the players can be written in a case in a deliberate manner, and arguments can be introduced among the players or actors of the case. How do we move forward with the exhibits given in the case and try to apply a business concept with which the lesson can be practiced and case knowledge can enrich the outcome of the business concepts. Finally, you will reach a conclusion. Basically, there are 5 principles. The first principle is about understanding the situation. It's nothing but situation analysis. What is the context with which the business is dealt? And the second principle is to identify the evidence. Is there an evidence available in the case write-up? And then move to the exhibits. Try to interpret the exhibits. That is the third principle. And we try to apply a business concept, maybe a strategic management concept, a marketing management concept, a financial management concept, or a product and services marketing, advertising, performance management, or investment and security analysis. All the core functional subjects can be dealt, or the specialized elective subject can also be dealt in the case. And how do we reach a particular decision or conclusion for the discussion or the arguments put forth in the case? That is the final stage. So, in understanding the situation, how do we throw up the situation with the players? Who are the key players? Who is leading the case? And how do we keep tracking of the reason with which the perspective of the case is dealt? And while identifying the evidence, is there a evidence available in the case write-up? And how do we go into the grouping of the issues, whether we can group it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, how many categories of views can be grouped? And try to interpret the exhibits, maybe tables, graphs, line graph, bar chart. All these can be interpreted in a way the decision can be supported. applying a concept, you can take up a strategic approach or competitive advantage. In this particular case, companion, we are going to deal with the strategic advantage, competitive advantage of the business enterprise. And reaching a conclusion, we need to decide upon a particular aspect with the support of the case incidents given in the case. And this is a glimpse of all the 5 steps. You can go through it. Case companion basically is a online tutorial which helps you to learn the case. Subsequently, the questions will be asked and one can respond to the questions by way of understanding the paragraph given in the case. So, when you start the online case, it is an online tutorial which can help you as a self-learning exercise. So, you can get started with the case and you have supporting videos given by a professor of management, and also you have a questions, as I told you, multiple choice questions are there, paragraph oriented questions are there, all that can be learnt by going through the case study. Getting started with the first page, understanding the situation, the demonstration is given, transcript is given, you can read. What is the business situation here? I would say there are 5 players in this particular case, loving spoon. It is a very simple simulated case where father and mother were running a hotel with a homemade food offered to affordable price to the neighboring and loyal customers for more than 40 years. And the sisters, twin sisters and another sister, about 3 of them are daughters of this parents, Jacob and Shara. And they wanted to translate or transform or hand over the business to daughters. The first daughter is of the opinion to manage the hotel food services as good as possible, and twin sisters Alex and Shara, they wanted to have their opinion. You can read the case, text is given. Franklin Kendra is the first daughter who is taking care of the scenario wherein she gives opportunity for her sisters to give their opinion, and Sarah is giving an opinion that the trend is changing and after 9 o'clock there is a good business, and therefore depending upon the requirement and need of the customers at 9 o'clock, the food has to be offered in an upscale manner. So, that is the opinion given by Sarah. And Alex, another sister, she is of the opinion that she can rent a place nearby where the traditional food service can offered and the upscale modern food service can also be offered in the same place side by side. So, it is a kind of hybrid hotel service, food service. So, Alex is of the opinion that we can manage the customers and keep the loyal customers with us, as well we can also get new customers, youngsters. So, mother is trying to support and raise questions. Necessarily we need to shift the business competition and approach, because the competition is inevitable and there are 3 players who have come into the business of loving spoon. So, mother is accepting on one side about the upscaling of the business is essential, but however, how do we go in for approaching this concept? Similarly, the second opinion offered by Alex also, again keeping the two different food service, traditional one and the modern one side by side, and trying to cope up with the redesigning and keeping the competitive spirit of the food service and to attract the new young generations coming up. And you can see and read the case in brief. All the statements are given in the case in a detailed manner, and the case is uploaded in the case teaching Telegram page or channel. And you can move on to the perspective of each one of them. How do they argue and what do they feel? It's evident that mother is agreeing for the opinion and father is also accepting the views that the business should be strengthened and we should keep the business going. So the views of the daughters are well taken. You can read the case which is given in the case PDF file, and there are other evidences where the strength of the business and warning signs. So during the discussion, the business in the Loving Spoon from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. it is recorded, and the age group of the customer is also given, sales also is given, and you can see whether they are working to the full capacity of the hotel. You can see here the proportion of Loving Spoon is at 4 p.m. 60%, whereas the Mackenzie's is at 10%. Whereas after 9 o'clock, it's almost 70% for the Mackenzie's, whereas 20% for Loving Spoon. So likewise, you can see the timing. As time progress, the business of Loving Spoon is down, whereas the competitor is picking up. The reason is that the growing age group, average age, is showing that people are young aged, and therefore the kind of food they like to buy at 9 o'clock is the snack and beverages. So in order to support the youngsters and the requirement and the need of the snacks and recipes like that, along with beverage and food, this is completely a new way of lifestyle food. It's not like homemade food. People will show interest at after 9 o'clock. So that way the competitors have introduced their food, and Loving Spoon is likely to lose their business, or they are idle. In fact, 20% they are doing business means 80% they are idle. So therefore the views of the daughters have to be agreed and taken forward, and the statements are given in the form of questions. Now coming to the applying business concept, there is a beautiful lesson on competitive advantage. There are three options normally. There is a podcast which is available in the case. You can listen to the podcast, which shows the opportunities available for a competitive advantage, namely keeping the lower cost or price advantage or price leadership, keeping the lowest cost possible. That is number one strategy. Number two is differentiation strategy, where you need to differentiate your product and say my product is unique, and therefore people will definitely stay with me, whether the number is more or less, but they will stay with the business. That's how the differentiation is given as the second strategy. And the third one could be middle of the road or focus. You can be low cost, or you can mix up with the differentiation, and therefore it could be said as focus. It's Michael Porter's strategies normally. So, this business concept is applied here, where the loving spoon tend to offer reasonably a good food, and in bulk they give a lowest price best possible, whereas the competitors are coming up with the differentiated product, and especially at 9 o'clock the kind of food they are looking for is completely different. So, whether these three opportunities or strategic avenues applied when considering the views of the daughters, that is the dilemma of the case. And you can see various options are given. You can run through the PowerPoint slides given in the channel Telegram, case teaching, and you can find out how the case can be dealt and learnt. Likewise, reaching a conclusion, see, when you propose your opinion, the opinion can be at point of risk. See, whenever you take a decision, redesigning the Loving Spoon restaurant or the hotel service, it require financial assistance, and therefore, we need to go in for borrowing money. So, that money and how far the existing customer will stay, or is there any possibility that we likely to lose our loyal customers because of the change in identity, all that could be taken into consideration when we discuss the alternative choices given by the daughters. So, it is a wonderful case. You can access to the Telegram channel case teaching maintained by myself, and access the resources, PowerPoint slides, as well the teaching material and the reading material for case on Loving Spoon, and you will understand and cherish the moment of the tutorial which is made available in the Harvard Business School. And I am quite happy that the case companion helps us in facilitating the case learning, and also the significance of case teaching in our MBA courses. So, the multiple cases can be given, and you can read to the case of different functional areas as well the specialized elective courses. So, you can be taken to the Telegram channel on case teaching. Enjoy the tutorial provided by the Harvard Business School. Thank you very much.